Welcome to It Is What It Is, JA, the podcast where we keep it real and tell it like it is, in partnership with Instinct Media Productions. I am your host, Blair Milan, and this episode is sponsored by IrieBeanz Coffee, Pure Water, and Karmen's Kollection. And today I have with me Kimberlee, Dobson, attorney at law, and Sanjay Smith, attorney at law. So today we will be discussing prenuptial agreements. This one's spicy, I feel like. Kim, let's start with you. You know, so how would you define a prenup to persons who don't necessarily understand what it is?
Well, a prenuptial agreement is basically an agreement entered into between two parties in contemplation of marriage. Right. Prenup. Before nuptials. It's basically a contract where you determine how the assets will be divided between the parties on if they decide to go their separate ways after the marriage has, broken down. It has a particular way it ought to be done based on legislation. I think it's a good thing that persons should have that discussion with their Wait, stop. Am I rambling too much? What you ask me?
You're fine, but anyway, all right, okay.
Girl nervous, sorry.
Okay, you're fine, you're good, man. We're just talking. Sanjay. Hey. So, would you recommend young people who are going into marriages now, considering that the divorce rate is so high and they're not protected? And they're, because to me, a prenup is so that you protect yourself from, losing anything if there's a separation. So would you recommend then that people should go and enter into a prenup?
What I would say is this. This might sound kind of controversial.
Okay.
However, based on what you said, it sounds like there's this, yes, it's going to happen. But there is a positive way to look at a prenup.
Right.
It's more, and you have to look at it more objectively to say, okay, then fine, we are going to have an agreement to say that if
something happened.
If. Because we can't enter into a prenup thinking when it will happen.
Right.
If it happens. If it does happen and we are to separate.
Right.
And you put things in place in writing to ensure that it's done in a way where it is, I'm going to say reasonable, because the law contemplates reasonableness.
Right.
And Kim spoke about the format it should be. And of course, PROSA, which you will find agreements under, speaks about one, it has to be in writing.
Right.
Like any good contract has to be in writing. And of course, each party before signing should have independent legal advice. Okay. Then it's witnessed by a JP or an attorney. So I would say if it is that you want to enter into a prenup agreement, have that discussion. Okay. The thing is that there is this belief that if one party says, let's have a prenup, it's almost as if you're contemplating the end.
There's going to be a breakup. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that it's natural to have that thought. Yeah. But if persons want to enter into a prenuptial agreement, that's fine.
That's fine.
It's up
Even
to
if
them.
you don't have anything, meaning you're not, because I think a lot of people go into it thinking, okay, or the woman goes in thinking that the man thinks that she's trying to take his money. Right. So he's trying to protect himself. I mean, okay.
I want number. It's 2-1.
No, hold on. I'm not saying that.
Let me drink some water and cool down before I get too spicy.
I'm not saying that's not
Pure
the
water.
case. I'm saying that there are times where obviously women that is the case. They're going with that intention.
Right.
Let's be real. There are lots of women who marry for money. So that's a fact, and some men just need to.
I'm happy you said it, man.
Or it's a consideration.
It's a consideration. So a man now protecting himself to make sure he say, yo, you're not gonna just come take me for the hard work that I put in, and you just come here and feel like you're just going to get a nice ride. So I understand that stance, and I honestly feel like even as a woman, you should want to protect yourself as well, because you never just go in with nothing. Especially if you're going with something, make sure what I would recommend to people. I'm not an attorney or I'm whatever, but what I would advise people is whatever you had before, you just say, yo, this is mine. But once whatever we've accumulated together, we do a 50-50 split or whatever it is, depending on whatever the situation is. You just try to have that amicable discussion when you're not good and everybody is level-headed and there's no emotions. And then, God forbid, if something happens and we break up, then we're good.
Yeah.
You hear the word she used?
What I use?
Amicable.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that discussion ever really amicable though?
I think
it can be.
I think it can be.
It just depends on the persons. If you have two mature persons that have good communication skills and you go into it with a state of, hey, I trust my partner. He's not trying to take advantage of me or leave me out in the cold. I think if you have two persons that are willing to really just lay everything on the table and have that discussion, then it can be a nice, fruitful, amicable discussion.
I think also that you don't just go into the prenuptial agreement going anything him said, because those are cases like that where a lot of women have been left with absolutely nothing.
But that's why you have to get independent legal advice, and it's actually required under the legislation that you get independent legal advice at the time that you're entering into it, and there's supposed to be like a certificate or a certification by the attorney saying, hey, I gave this person advice and they understood what we discussed.
Okay. All right. When do you think would be the ideal time for any party to just say, hey, I think we need to have a discussion, we need to enter into a prenuptial agreement, or even they get married then and there was no prenuptial agreement and they decide they want to do a postnup? When do you think is the appropriate time to bring up a prenup, and then when do you think is the appropriate time to bring up a postnup in a relationship? I love how Sanjay just turned it over to Kim.
Immediately. Immediately.
So,
A prenup.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have that discussion after we're engaged, I guess.
Okay.
In preparation for us getting married. I don't think there's any particular best time per se to have such a discussion.
Right.
But is there a bad time?
Right.
If
there must be a bad time.
Yeah. I mean, if the atmosphere between the parties aren't that good, something probably happened or something, I don't think that would be the best time to have that discussion. You probably aren't going to be as objective as you can be.
You think more on emotions.
Like, man, I love you no more, I'm a vex, no. Can't believe you think me I gotta take your money.
Yeah.
Well, I think personally, if you're gonna have a prenup and have that discussion, I think it should be brought up before you even consider engaging the person.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Other times,
that's true.
So then you can
know,
know,
different approach.
Right.
But then sometimes even like, I think during a relationship, depending on like the type of topics that you would discuss and stuff, you would know
if your
partner's approach to certain things.
Right.
That it wouldn't be
detrimental
or something if you decide to do it after an engagement.
Right.
So you're right. I agree with you. It's possible to do it before that. But there are also instances where, because of the type of relationship that you would have before you even get to that point, like how your partner would, their approach to certain things.
Right.
I think in particular it becomes complex when during the relationship, like premarital stage, then if you want to say it that way, we have, I'm gonna use very simple figures. We have $10 between the two of us. This is our $10, it's the best of you right now.
Right.
And then you sign an agreement. And then during the duration of the marriage, let's say within 10, 15 years, you move from having $10 to having $100,000.
Right.
It's a whole different argument.
Right.
And I think this becomes particularly interesting when we're dealing with wealthy couples or persons with many assets.
Yeah. That's right.
So there are situations where a person enters into a marriage. We are at 25 arguments sake. We're broke.
Right.
Let's be real.
Right.
Most persons who are under 25 don't really have that much money.
Right.
You understand?
Unless them have some inheritance or
some
uncle dead and say.
Exactly. So on average, the average person, even under 28, doesn't really have that many assets.
Right.
Worse now when they can't buy a house.
Right.
Because of the ridiculous pricing for the US market, like no sense. But anyway.
Okay.
And we're 25, we get married. And within 10 years, there's another promotion. I mean, you know, different degrees, careers, whatever, and things grow. And you're securing your future.
Right.
And you decide to buy more assets. You buy more houses, you buy stocks, you buy bonds, whatever it is. And one party sometimes there is a financial or income imbalance. And you want to have that discussion about equity in terms of reasonableness.
Right.
Not in terms of like, you know,
right.
way, but reasonableness. And you can find, we now have 10 houses. There's a family home, which is critical because the law will always put the family home as the primary.
Right.
We have 10 homes now, we have 3 kids.
Right.
When we were starting out, we had $10.
Right.
Now we have 10 homes. Then, and there's an income imbalance. One party is able to afford it easier or more easily than the other person.
Right.
And you say to yourself, hold on, let us have that discussion. It can be uncomfortable, but it is something to contemplate, especially in a situation where
at that point
and I'm gonna say it, sometimes they say money will change people. It doesn't. Money brings out more of who you are.
Who you really are.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because there are cases where persons are broke and then they make it and they become completely different, disgusting people.
Right.
So
Probably even kinder and more generous, you know?
it brings out more of who you are.
Exactly.
Right.
And I think a prenup will also come into play when you have children.
Yes.
Because you don't want it to be a situation where it is up to the court to determine how the children will benefit.
Right.
But
But you would hope
yeah.
that both parties are rational in that and making sure that the children are protected. You would hope.
Yeah, but I mean...
Because not everybody thinks that way, because some people, when they get mad, they don't even care about that side of things, but you would hope. No, I mean, it's the truth.
Yeah, it is
But
true.
you would hope that, you know, your kids... As you said, I think even at that point when children are involved, they should ensure that there is something to protect the children.
Indeed, especially a situation where, as I say, the financial, the income changes drastically. And you would want to have that discussion at a time when it is, as Kim would say, calm.
Right.
Calm in the relationship.
And everybody level-headed.
And
just,
there's what to do, like, let's for example, you're driving to the movies, and
and it's like,
so you know, you get a prenup. It's hot in the news. Yeah, man, you get a prenup, man. And you just
I'm
casually...
sure not on our monthly cycle.
No comment.
Just say it.
No comment.
Some of us can, like, you know, it just...
Yeah,
so you gotta make sure that the timing is right.
Yeah.
You broach the topic.
Yeah.
And you have that discussion in a way where it is informal. And then you can get an idea as to where the person's head is at.
Agreed.
Because the days of having secret trust and hidden, nah.
And put on the money one side, him have a bank account offshore, him don't know about, and just run off.
Yeah, I mean, I would say have the discussion.
There are men that have done that, put them, take him money, any allowance him give her, she go and put it aside and say, all right,
Yeah.
for a rainy day, like, I'm out, and she good.
And I think one of the reasons why people, before you even enter into a marriage, once you're in a relationship, this is my personal view, you need to be realistic as to where you are financially. Where you are now, what your goals are.
Right.
Once you're able to say, okay, that I'm here and I want to get over there, right? I need to have the discussion. We're going to live together.
Yeah.
You're trying to consolidate the expenses. Then before you even moving, you discuss, okay, then fine, what can I afford?
Right. And who's going to do what?
Right.
And you have that discussion about dividing the bills.
Right. Or not dividing the bill.
I would say divide the bills. And I'm going to say this, and there's some persons go, oh, the man must be protecting. I'm not in that foolishness. I'm sorry. Let's be real about one thing. 2 heads better than was one.
I agree.
So 2 incomes will always defeat just one.
Right.
Yeah.
So if you're moving in together, you need to have a discussion in respect of how the responsibilities will be divided.
Yes.
And then you need to plan as a team, because you are a team. Plan as to, okay, then fine, these are our goals. How do we get them?
Right.
And this is the income. Where do we put what?
Right.
And if you see where one party may not be as financially responsible,
Right.
or
But what if in a case where she's a housewife? She's now become a housewife. As you said, them start out with $10, but now they've accumulated all these things, and he said, no, listen, you know, our talk was always, our dream was always that at some point you would just stay home with the kids and whatever it is. So she's no longer earning anything or putting anything, but in the way she's taking care of the home is she's maintaining the home, she's making sure the place is clean, you know, whatever, and she's taking care of the kids, she ensures the kids are picked up from soccer, whatever, basketball, soccer,
no,
football.
We must stop
football, basketball, cheerleading, whatever, gymnastics.
Well, the good thing, you know, is that when you look at a prenuptial agreement, the law will also contemplate fairness and reasonableness. So if at the time when you draft this agreement and you say, fine, I'm gonna give you 10%,
right?
Because I'm earning 90% of the money, whatever. But as time goes along, the financial imbalance is now there. The changes, dynamic changes, our assets change.
Right.
If it is that the agreement is unreasonable, the court may say, hold on. Let me look at this again.
Right.
Especially a situation where the kids are involved. The court will say, hold on, let's look at this. Because remember that the PROSA is there to protect the parties.
Right.
Because there was a point in time in Jamaica when a prenup was seen as, what they would say, it was socially undesirable, if you want to put it that way.
Really?
Yes. Then PROSA came in place.
So we didn't believe in, or Jamaica was just not like...
It was, bear in mind, you know, there was an act that was implemented called Sister Children Act to deal with outside children.
Oh?
As well.
Wow.
So you're looking at a time when, you know, they had to really and truly protect
the outside children.
Once outside, but children of a different mother.
Oh.
Yes. And
wow.
You remember the whole remember the whole term about bastard child?
Right.
No, that would come from a child that's outside of the marriage.
But not necessarily outside of the marriage, but also if you're born out of wedlock. Because you could be, you're with the person, but you're born out of wedlock, you're considered a bastard.
So,
but yeah,
those things are now in the past.
Right.
So
because it's the norm now. There's a lot of people having outside children. I mean, it's the reality.
It happens.
So that's why they have to put something.
I would say it's a norm now, but it's been going on for a very long time.
Right, but it's the norm now, which is why they're putting that they put something in place to protect those people. So
when you're looking at that aspect, and you draft a prenup, and in the prenup you don't make certain provisions to really and truly protect either yourself, or the other party, or the children involved, the court will say, hey, hold on, let's have a look at this. The court will, of course, look at the children, look at the family home, because you cannot say that, okay, I'm making a prenup and the house is mine in full. So anybody who is trying to come in is not going to work. No children, no wife, no nothing.
Right.
And then at the end of it, she's left up in here. Or let's flip the script, she has money and he ain't got anything. You know what I'm saying?
Business.
She said, road boy, you know, it was nice, you know, bye. And him on the roadside, I sell figurine. No.
So you're saying it would be in his favor to you, don't matter? Like
you have to look at it reasonably.
Okay.
Because, as I said, the court contemplates that things may change. And if it is that you've made an agreement, and the agreement is, and Kimmy can't mind up on this one. I know you're kind of camera shy.
No, because I was gonna say in cases where, you know, I know that usually they'll say they are in favor of the, you know, the mother or the woman, and if she's a mother. I mean, I don't know if that's the case, but as you're saying, your children, once children are involved.
Children, because at the end of the day, the court is not gonna have the kids on the roadside.
Right, right.
Which is why the family home is mentioned specifically. It's other property, family home, other property.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, you can't have the kids on the roadside just dying for hunger.
Right.
The kids have to have somewhere to eat and sleep.
Right.
Especially if the child is a special needs child. Because although you're mandated by a law to have the child in school at 4 years old, and you are legally obligated to maintain the child to 23 once you're in school, if the child is special needs, has a deficiency, has a disability.
You're legally obligated to take care of the child till they're 23?
Once the child's in school, yes.
Wow.
Yeah, if they're after 18, if they're pursuing tertiary education. Yeah.
Wow, okay. I'm loving this education. I hope everybody is like learning, guys. Viewers, make sure to know this. Okay.
It becomes special when the child, and I say child here because it's kind of comical. It becomes different when the child is married. And when I say child,
okay,
because
meaning the 23-year-old now gets married.
The 17-year-old gets married.
Okay.
Because you can
you get married at 17 without your parents' consent?
You can get married at 17 or 16 with your parents' consent, but if the consent by the parents is unreasonably withheld, you can go to the court and the court can overrule it.
In Jamaica?
Yes.
Wow, that's interesting.
A moment of silence.
Yeah, because what do I get married at, like, what, I can't even understand, like, what would I be doing getting married at 16 or 17 and in the court overrule my parents to say, yeah, she can get married?
Remember back in the day per year?
Yeah, that's back in the day, but we're talking about right now.
Yeah. But remember, legislations are made based on what exists, you know, at that time, at that point in time.
So that still exists now.
Well, you can get married at 16?
Yeah. Wow.
Think about it. If the age of consent is 16.
Is it still 16? Wasn't it moved at one point?
There was an argument to have it moved up to 18.
Right.
And the school of thought is that at 16 you're technically still a minor.
You're not?
You're a minor at 16.
Yeah, you are a minor. So
at 17 you're technically a minor.
Yeah,
as well.
at 18 you're officially an adult.
And it becomes important because at 18 that they will say you have legal capacity.
Right.
So the argument.
I guess if you can get a driver's license at 16 or 17, yeah?
I think now it's different. I think it's 17 or 18 at the big, kind of up there now.
Yeah, sure. In terms of driver's license?
Yeah, but this new road traffic.
But wasn't it always that though?
I feel like it was always 16 or 17.
16.
Or you get to
when we were younger.
When we were younger.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
17,
15, right.
Yeah.
Law, I think person started driving.
Yeah.
It was different because even when we entered high school now, when we were in high school, entering high school at 11 in first form.
And you see people driving to school.
Yes,
I mean,
they're in sixth form.
Or fifth form, depending on the school you went to.
Yeah.
Or ride bikes and then park up at Emmett Park.
So there is.
Now imagine the 17-year-old now entering a prenup. And then the person who is 17 now becomes 35 and things are different.
Yeah, because they're going to be way different.
Yeah, but listen, guys, we aren't confined to one document. We can have documents change after the circumstances change.
But as long as the persons are aware and say, okay, at 16 I got married.
Right.
I'm 35 now and I've now accumulated all these things. I want to protect myself. They have to know that, okay, we need to amend this. You get what I'm saying? Because I think that's what happens to a lot of people. They're just thinking of, okay, we already have this in place. They're not thinking of what could possibly happen down the line. Because who you are at 16, you're not at 35.
You shouldn't be.
You shouldn't be. No, but you get what I'm saying. Like, their mindset has changed, which is why obviously you're progressing, you're doing all these things, which is why you should want your circumstances have changed, which is why you'd want to protect yourself even more now from anything that could possibly, you probably see your partner start changing to, and you're like, I'm not sure if, this is where I want to, whatever. So you decide that, okay, I need to, put things in place in the event that I feel like he might be doing, or he might be stepping out then. So, okay, what if you find out then that your partner is stepping out on you, cheating, whatever, but you didn't have a prenup, but you decide to do a postnup at that time, but the partner probably pick up that you feel him doing something or she's doing something, and so that's why they don't want to do it. Like, is there a way for you to put something in place to protect yourself if the person refuses to go into an agreement like that?
I mean, if you aren't in a position, if you don't have an agreement with your partner, then you have to go to the court for the court to decide how to deal with your assets.
Yeah, but then what if, but remember, you're not breaking up, You're in the relationship. Yeah. But you just feel like you need to protect yourself because this person you feel like at some point, maybe you don't know how much longer you can manage, but he's been cheating or she's been cheating. But they don't want to do a postnup. They don't want to even consider this conversation?
It has to be something by an agreement. If there's no agreement, then you're just gonna have to on separation or divorce. You just apply it to the court on the Property Rights of Spouses
Act. So at that point,
you're
basically breaking up, because at that point now, if you don't want to protect this person, don't want you to protect yourself or protect you guys. Then, in the event of anything, you just have to.
Because that's necessarily be a breakup.
Okay, but you go to the person now and say, I want to go to court then, because since you don't want to sign this, I need something in writing to say, yo, we now have all these things, but even though we didn't do it before, I want to make sure that we're protecting ourselves. No, but the person just refuses. They don't want to do it.
Yeah, but remember that the court is not good. The person can't be forced to
I know, which is why I'm saying they don't.
It's unenforceable. So, but the thing is that we use the word protection in respect of prenuptial agreements and postnups. I'm gonna say it. The person who wants it will view it as protection.
Okay.
The person who is receiving it may see it as a sledgehammer.
Okay.
Yeah.
And as much as you would want to use the word protection, the other person is not going to see that way. And as I said, it is something that it's a very touchy topic because in the back of your mind that you're contemplating the end.
Right.
And because it has that finality undertone, persons will not want to have that discussion.
Yeah. Okay. Perhaps you'd have to try the use of like a third party or independent person, like a counselor or something,
to just
or
say,
a pastor.
Hey, this is for both of us. This is not. I'm not just thinking about me. I'm thinking about you as well. All right. So, Kim, how can we, anybody who's in enter into a prenuptial agreement, how can they ensure that that agreement is ironclad?
Well, firstly, I would always recommend, and it is required, that you use the services of an attorney at law at the time when you're entering into this arrangement. The attorney any attorney can assist, but I always recommend that persons use attorneys that practice in the actual area.
Right.
So if you go to an attorney that practices in family law and is au fait with like property division issues, then they would have certain things in contemplation when assisting you in crafting the agreement to ensure that it's ironclad.
Right.
But I'm going to say that ironclad is not necessarily like the actual name of a document.
Right.
Ironclad is more just like a descriptive, just to say it's well protected. You're well protected under the document. Right.
Okay. I know we keep talking about property and in dividing of assets and whatever, but in a case like, well, this is obviously not in Jamaica, but but in a case where like in I think Coco and Ice-T is prenup, they have a case where in their prenup, if they get divorced, in the event that they get divorced, he wants her to remove her her implants and injections. So the implants that she has in her breasts and the injections that she has in her butt. Wow. This is what is in the prenup. So I know we keep talking about property and dividing of, those assets. But in the case of dividing these assets, is this something that people can put in place? Like, because in Jamaica, we're now of a culture of BBLs and... No. We're becoming a culture.
There are some persons who are doing it.
Okay, but we're becoming... Tim, the culture is becoming more prevalent in that aspect of BBL, breast implants culture. So, and a lot of it is, women who are dating men who have the money and they want them to look this way. So, in the event that these men are saying, hey, I'm going to get your boobs done, I'm going to get your butt done and whatever, in Jamaica, can they put that in a prenup to say, if in the event of a divorce, I need you to remove these assets then?
Well, I'm going to drink some water and mind my business. And leave it up to Kim to talk about that.
Oh, that's different. I don't think there's anything precluding you from, parties can agree to anything, as long as it's not illegal.
Right.
you can agree to anything with your partner. I don't foresee a trend in that regard where most men will start saying
that in jump.
Yeah, when I have an agreement, you need to go, you need plans or whatever. I think that's more from like a control standpoint or something, or maybe like a joke, but.
No, but that's fully in their
That's a serious joke, though, you know?
That's a serious joke. No, because that's in their because
he must have a reason why he said that. That's. But to answer your question, there's nothing in law preventing that. As I said, you can agree to anything asset related because it is an asset, I guess. Yeah. For them, guess on your definition,
of assets,
right? So
I mean, it's not appreciating, but I mean,
right.
So it's not an appreciating asset. So I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do with it if the marriage.
That's a different one.
Yeah, I just thought, let me ask that question because I thought that was quite interesting.
I never heard. Whoa, okay.
Like everybody's like, wait, what? Sanjay said he's gonna mind his business. So, all right, I have another question. In the case of like common law, in a common law, what you call it, marriage? Common law union. Okay, in a common law union, you can't do a prenup. Can you do a postnup in a common law union?
Well, the section does say parties in contemplation of marriage or cohabiting.
Okay.
Yeah, and cohabiting
would be a common law.
Right, so living together. But mind you, they aren't recognized as common law spouses until, I don't know why I air quoted that, guys.
I think it's 7 years, right?
5.
It's 5 now.
Right,
okay.
and it's not automatic. You have to like actually get an application and get the court to declare you are a common law spouse.
Oh, really?
Yes, you have to apply and show proof. Yes. So it's not automatic. You have to do that first before you do any like applications for like division of property or whatever, in the event you don't have an agreement.
So basically you should just get married.
Just get married.
Well,
it's a serious thing.
Because I'm just looking at that because that makes like in my mind, okay, thank you for educating me.
Yes.
Because to me, I thought once you're married, once you're living with the person, as you said, cohabitating with the person for 5 years, I assumed this is automatically legal, whatever, can split, whatever.
Well,
so it's not automatic. In fact, I have been involved in a matter of that nature, and the court rejected our application. The court said that there was insufficient evidence that they were living together as husband and wife, and so all the money that she sent from when she was in England to help him get that property,
she can't get back nothing.
She didn't. The court didn't find that she sufficiently laid foundation to say that she was a common law spouse. They found that she didn't have a sufficient connection to the property either, because she didn't really come to Jamaica. Right. She didn't have all of like her Western Union receipts and so forth and so forth. So my point is,
just get married.
Just get married. It's not
because if you still have to finance, fill out a paper, just get married.
Just get married.
Because so what is the difference then? Okay, maybe I should ask from a male perspective because I feel like it's usually the males that are and fine with the common law and not the marriage part, right? So I want to know then, what would make you just go and fill out a common law form versus saying, hey, we're not doing a big wedding, we can just sign the marriage certificate, whatever. Why can't you just,
Well, I think before we get into that, we need to look at what Kima said a while ago.
What Kim said?
So there is a word that we use a lot, spouse. And the law, how law works is by definition of words and terms, interpretation. So when you look at an act, for example, you said section 1, the heading, then you'll have section 2. Usually is the interpretation section.
Right.
And in prosa, it defines what spouse is. We use the word spouse loosely. So I'm a spouse. But
especially in a common law situation.
Technically, spouse has a legal definition. So a spouse is somebody, as Kim had said, persons cohabiting as man and wife, living together for 5 years. Now, when we spoke about the court decided that you are really a spouse, it's an application called a declaration of spouseship.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
So, which is where you exhibit things. So you fill the application through an attorney, of course, followed by affidavit, and then what evidence you have to prove that we are living together for 5 years as man and woman.
Right.
Husband and wife, undisturbed. 5 years.
Right.
If the person says, fine, I'm going to go overseas for like 2 months and come back. But I come back, you have bills in your name, your deliveries come there, or it's on your bank receipts as this is where I live. So once you cross the spouse hurdle, then you can qualify in law as a spouse to benefit from anything.
Okay.
The question of whether or not persons just up and us get married and just call it a day, that's up to the person. I think we need to accept or recognize that there are some persons who are comfortable with how the things are.
No, I agree. I'm just trying to figure out what's the major difference, because
ease.
What?
Ease.
Ease? Ease of, that's what I'm trying to figure. Ease of what? Because in the event.
So it's a ease in respect of, if you're married, it go off. So you really together? Oh, that's we're married. Oh yeah, whatever. You just run along with it. If it's a common law union that has not been declared by the court, then you go through more hurdles to get certain things done. In respect of whether or not just up and do it, it's on the person.
But
people
then,
are different.
In the event of you break up now, there's no protection for the common law person.
There is.
Yeah, but
What do you mean protection in terms of what?
No, okay. So that's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, if you're saying in a common law situation, because what you're saying is ease of comfort is what more you're talking about. Marriage is the ease, right? So because I'm trying to figure out why is it that people would rather do common law when they could just get married.
So for example, some persons like manual cars, some person like automatic.
Okay, all right. I'm just trying to figure. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not looking at it from a emotional standpoint. I'm kind of more looking at it from, I guess, a logical standpoint. Just trying to, like, to make it make sense in terms of how will this either benefit me, positively or negatively, at some point.
So are you looking in terms of how the court will look at a common law union in the event of a breakup?
Right, in the event of a breakup. Like
with assets?
Right, with assets then.
All right, so
common law versus being married.
Brown and Brown, where the court looked at how they divide the family home. The benefits will be the same for a common law union. Okay. Because, yes.
But in the event that they did not sign this document then and register or whatever to say, hey, we're a common law unit, how do you...
That's what we're saying. You have to get a declaration.
You definitely have to get a declaration first.
Before the court even contemplates any issue to division of property.
Oh, so even, okay, let's say you're broken up, right? And you decide now you need to go to the court because you never have nothing in. So you still would have to now declare. Can you still declare at that point that, hey, we were common law for 10, 12 years and now we want to divide whatever. So it don't matter when you do it. It's just as long as you...
Well, let's not say it don't matter, because I think there are the pros and there's actually a time within which you should apply after separation. Okay. Or divorce.
I
think it's a year or two. I don't remember right now, but there's a particular time. Mind you though, you can go beyond that time, but you have to ask the court for permission to extend time to allow you to apply. So I guess the answer is yes, overall.
Okay.
But then you have to also look at what is property. Is it just a house, or is it situation of stocks, bonds?
I assumed it's everything. I don't think it's just property as in physical house or car or whatever.
Because
it's assets you've accumulated together.
But do you know that a bank account, a joint account, operates on the same principle as a house?
Right, I would assume that. Because both your names are on it.
Exactly.
So the money, whatever in there, you now have to decide who get what. No? Yeah, I would assume that. I agree. I mean, I can understand if it's your name alone on the bank account, it's a different thing. But they can try and come after that.
If your name is on it.
No, but what
You
if your
own it.
name is not on it?
Then it's a different argument.
Okay.
Because this might sound a bit controversial, but one of the things that has an undertone when it gets nasty for me, and I look at it, this is my personal opinion, it has to do with greed.
Oh, yeah. I can see that.
And entitlement. And you have to be very mindful and careful of the person you're with. And you have to be very realistic of where you are. And one of the good things about how our court looks at divorce is means and needs.
Right.
Because you can't say that, oh, judge, he makes $1 million. I only make 600,000. I want a monthly maintenance, which is what a person's called annulments.
Right.
Of 500,000 from him just because. No.
So, yeah, let me ask you that. So, in the event of a divorce now, how do people, get alimony, or why do people still get alimony in a divorce then? Explain that part to me.
Maintenance. So, under the Maintenance Act, and we're dealing with divorce as well, when you make an application, because it's done on paper,
Right.
for the divorce, was it MP1 form, right? Yes, when you're doing the divorce. And in that, you will outline certain things. Sometimes persons put, if you declare what you make and whatever. Some persons may say, hey, listen, let's have an agreement in that application to say, hey, I will give you X amount of money a month. Some persons go and ask for it after, like application for maintenance, to say, hey, listen, we're divorced now, but I need money.
Right.
But the court will ask, what is your means and needs? What is your need? You don't need to be driving a Ferrari or a Range Rover.
Right.
You're okay driving something simpler. And let's be real about it. Can you afford to maintain it? Or you want this fancy thing to show off on your friend then?
Right. So I want this in the divorce.
You know what I'm saying?
Has there ever been a case where the court decides on if the person gets alimony?
Yes, that's what they do. Anytime when you have an application for
No, but what if you don't apply for it or whatever?
You have to apply.
You have to apply. Okay. Okay.
For completeness.
So if you don't apply,
Then
you're not getting nothing.
Right.
Okay, cool.
I mean,
Unless your partner is a nice person. Because you have men that are like that, it's the
like,
mother of my child,
yeah.
we're not together anymore. And in addition to the child maintenance, they send money for the spouse, the mother of their child, for herself.
Okay. All right. So one more question. An annulment. Okay, explain to me what an annulment is, because I think I have a different understanding of what it is. So explain to me what an annulment is, and then is there a time frame in which you can do that after being married?
Well, an annulment is basically an application to nullify the marriage. It's as if you
It didn't
married,
happen.
right?
Okay.
But there are very specific circumstances within which you can apply for an annulment.
Okay.
One is this person is not who you thought they were, or you weren't of the proper age, or the person who got you married wasn't a pastor or marriage officer.
But then technically, are you married?
Well, true. That's a point. But, yeah. So it's limited circumstances.
So there's a time frame, like for example, with the Kim Kardashian case where she was married for 72 hours, so she had an annulment.
There is no time frame within before you can apply. No.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if I type.
Not before, meaning like afterwards. Meaning, is there like, okay, a year passed, 10 years passed, you can't get an annulment? That's what I mean.
There is nothing preventing time constraints.
Okay, just as long as you can prove.
Right. The time constraint comes in with divorces. A lot of people don't realize, listen, marriage is a serious commitment.
Yes.
You know, we should really not just get married like that. I mean, everybody has their
Till death do us part.
Right.
Yes.
It's really serious. And sometimes persons just get caught up in the love and the feeling and just go ahead and do this. And then months down the line, they realize, oh my God, who is this monster that I got married to? And then you're stuck and you can't get divorced for a while because under the act, right, you can't get divorced before 2 years of marriage without the court's permission. So if I'm 1 year in now and I really want out because this man is just a monster, you have to wait 1 more year or ask the court for permission. But I mean, the court rarely gives it.
Unless it's in a case of abuse, maybe?
You have to show like it's detrimental to the person to remain in this marriage. It would be like unfair, unjust. Some sort of depravity, you know, it's really extreme circumstances. In fact, there's not even much case law on the point because, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well.
And also, too, another time constraint with divorce is you have to be separated for 1 year.
1 year, right. I knew that. Yeah. Okay. I don't think a lot of people know that.
Yeah, a lot of people don't.
Yeah, and then if you look at separation now, it's interesting to look at separation because separation doesn't necessarily mean that we live in different homes.
Right.
You can have what we can call almost like a constructive separation. Live in the same house.
Yes.
I'm on wing A, you're on wing B.
Right.
Sleep in different
but
beds.
But how do you prove to the court that this is what is happening?
Your application.
Yeah.
To say we're living in the same house, but...
Right.
Because
we're sleeping in separate bedrooms. I don't do any.
So do they come and do an investigation to see if this is really happening?
It's in your application. That is why.
Yeah, but you could put anything on an application, but you're really not.
But you're not supposed to swear to any affidavit.
No, I agree, but I'm just
put lies.
We're not saying that people don't do it. I was saying people don't do that. I mean,
let's just say that there's a principle in law that he who comes must come with clean hands.
Right.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
So in your application, you would say that we are separated. And if you're living in the same house, you would write, say, we live in the same house, but we sleep in different beds. We do not operate as man and wife.
I
because
don't look for this man. I was out of,
there's
being
no
a wife, no conjugal, relations.
Use the word so nice.
That is conjugal.
I use that word because
I feel like it was prison.
Make it sound so structural.
Don't say conjugal.
That's why they refer to it under the legislation.
Like,
so I'm
yes,
just
honey,
using it back, guys.
Tonight we're gonna have a conjugal relationship situation. We're gonna take my shit and fold my shit over here. And nah.
And that's how you're likely your attorney will write it anyway.
Right.
Yeah, so you outline like that, and of course, okay, fine. Because sometimes you can't afford to move out.
Yeah, no, I understand that, but I just wanted to know how do you prove that. But I guess as you said, people just need to
in your affidavit because
just
remember,
make sure that whatever you're putting is you're being honest. Yeah.
And remember, so you something that you swear to, it's signed by a JP.
Right.
Your affidavit is signed by a
So
JP, so you don't want to lie.
Exactly.
And what if the person's going to challenge you to say this is not the case?
Right. So
you have instances
where they challenge and say no, we are actually sleeping together. We're not. Whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can't force someone to stay with you.
I agree.
And you shouldn't.
You shouldn't.
If the person wants to go, let the little bird fly.
Yes, I agree.
But I mean, if you lie in your affidavit, it might come out, and you don't want that.
Right.
You don't want that to happen.
Yeah. And it has happened. It has happened. You have case law on issues like that where, a wife gets a divorce and she's like, what the hell is this?
Yeah.
It's all lies.
This
I
never
just
happened.
cooked for you the other day.
Right.
We just sleep in the same bed. What you saying? But as Sanjay said, never best to first.
I think the lies also come up when it comes around, as I say again, when it comes on to property.
Yeah. Yes.
And businesses.
I know.
Yes.
Which is why we need to make sure, guys, prenup, postnup, want to keep checking those documents, okay? Keep checking them documents. People change.
Well, let's say you don't have a prenup,
okay,
right? Or a postnup. Let's talk about business. I have a business. You and I are together. You don't put anything in the business financially, but you are there from jump. You assist me. You do things, and the law speaks about this, doing things to make something happen. So I do something around the house. Okay, you have started a business. And I say, here what? I am going to stay home and do this.
Right.
So you can go out and do the
do
business,
that.
right? I have a little farm around the back while we have, and they say, no, I'm going to go out and I have to do this to make this happen.
Right.
So I hear what? I will stay home and do all this, put the house together, all that type of work. And you assist me, but you don't physically or
with the money,
with the money
right.
aspect of it.
But
But you're there from jump.
Right.
You are there from the first grain of sand to the tallest mountain.
Right.
And the person goes, okay, then fine, I want a separation,
Right.
a divorce. And then you think about all the times you probably even drop off letter and help it filing and go down to company's office and run up and down like a headless chicken, but you don't have any money in it. And the person say, hey, make up yourself, little more. You then say, hold on, but wasn't I the one who did drive down to the company's office with my own gas?
Exactly.
Ride the bicycle down to the post office and do all these things. Then the discussion becomes about, what percentage, if any, should that person get?
Right. And then that is what would determine that. Because
remember also, even though there is contemplation of 50% in certain assets, they can make an application to vary the percentage.
I said more 80.
I mean...
Just like anyway. Thanks, guys. This was an informative conversation. I think people needed to hear this, and have an understanding of prenuptial agreements, annulments, just making sure that these agreements are ironclad, as you would say.
Right.
And, so I hope that this has helped somebody, some people.
And the post-nup as well.
And the post-nup.
Yeah.
Don't forget the post-nup, guys. If you don't get the prenup and you want to get the post-nup, just have a real conversation. Just communicate with your partner. Wait until they're nice and calm. You cook them dinner.
Right.
Like,
okay,
hey,
no one know
baby.
your style. No one know your style. No one know your style. So anybody
I'm
who's
not using
dating
that. I'm not using that. Just
stew peas and oxtail?
Stew peas and oxtail.
Sweat rice?
So, yeah.
Yeah.
And just be like, honey, I feel like we need to talk about this and just slide the contract right there. So I'm just like, sign here. The dotted line.
But then he wouldn't have independent legal advice.
Oh,
and then the sign under duress, it becomes a void
all right,
contract.
fine. All right, but I'll be like, honey, let's get a lawyer. Let's, talk about it. Let's just, protect ourselves and so.
You get your lawyer and I
you get
my
my
lawyer.
yeah. So I'm gonna make him feel comfortable and say, yo, we're both protecting ourselves. Yeah.
Personally, I'm not a fan of prenups, to be honest with you.
Oh Jesus.
The reason why. Let me and.
I'm going to get
we're not gonna ask to be my lawyer, right?
I mean, for me personally, I wouldn't do one. No, I wouldn't do one. For me personally, but to each his own.
But anyway,
drink
So
water.
thank you guys again for coming and having this conversation. It was really good. It was really informative. I learned a lot. So Kim, please let the viewers know where they can find you.
Okay. You can find me at 22B Old Hope Road, Kingston 5, or email me at KimberleeDobsonLaw@gmail.com.
And Mr. Attorney at Law, Sanjay, big up yourself who don't believe in prenuptial agreements. Let the people know where they can find you.
I wouldn't do one. I wouldn't go into one. I'm sorry.
You wouldn't go into one.
That's me personally. I think if somebody wants to do that, that's their business. Me, hey.
You're not. Okay, fair
That's
enough.
not me.
I mean, teach his own.
Drink water.
Mind your business.
Well,
Jeez,
yes.
Look at Sanjay drinking off the. I love this.
Yeah, so I actually love water.
That's
it's actually
good.
very good for you.
That's good.
So the question is now, can we agree that you will give me one of your bottles of
Oh, for
your
sure,
water?
I will. I'll give you 2.
There we go.
Go
Water
ahead.
is essential.
So now you have to let the people know where they can find you, Sanjay, on your office, on Instagram, wherever it is.
All right, so my office is at 4 Duke Street, first floor, downtown Kingston. My email address, sanjaysmithlaw@gmail. Instagram, sanjaysmithja.
And you know where to find me on all platforms at Blair Milan, and it is what it is, JA. See you next time.